Well, welcome to the ultimate guide for starting and scaling a channel. I'm your host, TC Doyle. This presentation is brought to you by Impartner, the world leader in PRM. I am the channel growth evangelist here at Impartner. With me today is my colleague, Rob Franks. Rob is the director of sales engineering. Welcome, Rob. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, TC. Thanks for having me.
Now, we're going to be talking new software coming up here in a sec. Give us a quick little preview, and then I'll get to some top line thoughts and then hand it back to you.
Yeah, I'm excited. What we're going to show you today really constitutes about 30 years of channel management experience distilled out of the enterprise and now ready for the SMB market, as well as those companies that are just dipping their toe into channel management. Really excited to show you.
Wow, 30 years. Well, that makes everything that I'm about to say, it's a high bar. I'm going to have to jump over it. But let's get to the sooner or later to you quickly. I'm going to talk a little bit about, and if we can go to the next slide, let's start with the topic at hand, and that is starting and scaling that channel. Let's give some context. Let's go to the next slide. Let's talk a little bit about what that means. Well, when you think about the world today and the world of commerce, not just electronic commerce, but real commerce, global GDP, how much of that is flowing through an indirect channel? 75% of the world's commerce today is flowing through an indirect channel. So if you're thinking about starting or scaling, you've come to the right place. Let's continue on. Why do they continue to be so important? Well, let's think about the last year and a half alone. Through the pandemic, channels proved themselves to be indispensable. Partners on the street were able to go where manufacturers couldn't. They were able to go where Amazon trucks couldn't deliver, to help customers in the technology space, manufacturing, healthcare, and more. Without third-party middlemen, the world would look like a very different place. Let's keep going. So why are they still so prevalent today in the marketplace, despite the threats of disintermediation and other things that we hear about? Well, no matter how you slice it, if you're a small to medium-sized business, which a lot of you are, there is no more cost-effective way to get to the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. And let's be honest, in today's vernacular, that is the local real estate office. That's the local healthcare provider and facility. That is the local barbecue manufacturer. There's no more cost-effective way to get to SMBs than through a channel. So let's continue on. We want to talk about, what about your rivals? So you're now maybe thinking about investing in a channel. Maybe you already have one and you're thinking it's time to scale. One thing to keep in mind, small and medium-sized businesses are investing today in technology, and that includes your rivals. They're scaling quickly. 75% of SMBs today have increased their technology budgets by an average of 34%, driven part by the desire for digital transformation. We see that happening. So we're seeing a big groundswell around channels. So let's start and talk about what are some of the key pillars of that. Let's click ahead. If you look at this slide, let's talk about one of the most fundamental things that candidly a lot of organizations, even mature ones, don't get right. And that is developing your value proposition. On our Impartner Channel Chief Advisory Board, one of our partners there is a gentleman by the name of Donna Kiernan. His company is Tenego Academy. He is in Cork, Ireland, and he says there is no single more important thing when you're building and scaling your partner network than developing that value proposition. It literally is the sum total of why partners want to do business with you. So what does that cover? Well, let's click ahead and see. When you're thinking about developing your value proposition, the critical elements that you want to make sure are, do you have the right economics? Do you have the right support? And have you factored in the competitive landscape? Now, the most important one is the economics. I remember when I was a reporter, and I've been a reporter in this industry for 30 years, I had an opportunity to interview then Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer in his office. His partners were in a very unhappy state, shall we say. And I posed the question to him. I said, your company is making disproportionate money, hand over fist, and your partners are out there suffering. They can't make any money selling licenses, and the economic value for aligning with your company, the return just isn't there. He shrugged his shoulders and said, that's their business, I run my business. He was out there quickly thereafter, not simply because of that, but other things that were happening. In comes Satya Nadella, who's done a fantastic job, and one of the things that he has done is recognize that his company cannot make money hand and fist while others suffer. We'll talk about the support you provide and the competitive landscape as you're developing that value proposition. Factor those in. Find out how much support are you willing to make? How much support are you willing to give? And what are your competitors doing? Let's continue. So now that's if you're starting. So now you've got your value proposition. You've honed it. You've factored in your economics. You know how your partners are going to make money. Again, that is the single most credible thing, important thing that you can do. But now that you're scaling, you've got your channel, it's rolling, let's talk about share of wallet. When you calculate how much are you getting from your partners and what are they getting, are you getting the maximum return? And what about the value add-on services? Another critical thing. And what I mean by that is companies like Salesforce have done the math on how much money they're getting for the value they're providing their partners. How much value can they get? If it's for every Salesforce dollar sold, it's typically around 5 to 6 that the partners are enjoying. Well, as you scale your channel, think in terms of building and maximizing those value-added opportunities. Finally, let's also talk about one more thing, and this is coordinating activities with a direct sales force. If you're scaling an organization's channel, you probably have a direct sales force. You're going to want to make sure you minimize channel conflict. How? Simple rules of engagement. How? Routes to market that are clearly defined. Take out the ambiguity and take out the friction. Let's continue. Let's talk about designing a proper program. When we think about designing a program, let's go to the next slide. We want to talk about really thinking about partner types. You have a variety of partners. In the tech space, you've got those that sell, those that consult, those that integrate, and more. You really want to build your partner program tailored to the very different partners that have very different business models. In addition, let's also talk about partner recruitment and onboarding. Have you figured out how you're going to do that? Where can you take out the friction? Where can you simplify things? We're going to be talking about automation here in a second, but you must think in those terms. Let's also then talk about rewards in tiers, another critically important aspect of it. Typically, the highest volume partners today get the most benefits, and you give them the highest tiers. They're gold, silver, and platinum in the West, and they're diamond, sapphire, and ruby in the East. Whatever you think about it, modern channels are factoring ways to reward those that provide alternative value other than the sale of goods and services. You should be thinking similarly. If a partner has unrivaled expertise, access to key customers that you want, figure out a way to reward them. And by doing that, one more, if you will, is to define value. Define what constitutes value in the marketplace. Okay, so now let's move ahead. So let's talk about scaling. Well, you want to investigate alternative partner types. There are many partner types out there in the marketplace, not just sales agents, but there are influencers, consultants, and trade associates. As you're building your channel, think in terms of alternative partners that might have different business models, which brings us to our next point. You're going to want to think about those. How is the money flowed? Who's getting compensated and how? Finally, let's talk about customer journeys. Customers have their journeys, but so do partners. And as you scale your channel, you must understand, where are your partners? Are they mature? Are they just getting started with your technology? What do they need from you? If you treat all partners the same, you're going to have trouble in the marketplace. Let's continue. Finally, let's go on to best practices. So we've talked about starting a channel, scaling a channel. Now let's segue to talking about applying best practices. One of the things you're going to do or want to do as you start your channel is you got to calculate your total addressable market. Why is that important? If you calculate your total addressable market, you'll know how many partners you need in a certain geo, a certain vertical segment, a certain customer segment. What you want to avoid is channel conflict, and that includes both inter and intra. So you want to make sure you avoid channel conflict with your own sales force and sales go-to-market motions, but you also want to make sure you don't have too many partners in Kansas City or too many partners in healthcare, lest they start competing and it becomes a race to the bottom. Let's continue. In addition to calculating your TAM, what you're also going to want to do is don't impose unrealistic demands on partners. If I'm a partner and you ask me to pay money to certify, pay to join your program, and you put demands, and I'm completely new to your program, unfamiliar with your technology, you're setting yourself up for trouble down the road. Finally, let's talk about developing a partner mindset and adopting data-driven policies. One of the things you're going to want to do is the old adage that says if you can't measure it, you can't monitor it. You're going to want to build programs with automation that allow you to capture data of what's happening in your channel and ruthlessly analyze that. Finally, I mentioned developing a partner-centric mindset. This starts at the C-suite and it extends all throughout your organizations. Far too many companies start a channel and they don't bake those channel-centric policies, programs, and go-to-market considerations into the overall strategic mission of an organization. Fail to do that, bolt on channels as an aside, you're asking for serious trouble. The C-suite must be committed. Now let's talk about some of those same things as they apply to scaling a channel. So let's go to the next slide. When you think in terms of building a channel for the modern era, when everything is automated, when everything is leveraging best practices, and when decisions are data-driven, you're going to want to build on opinionated principles. Now that sounds like a negative. It's actually not. In the software development space, opinionated means informed. It means experienced. So building on opinionated principles recognizes the wisdom of the crowds, those that have gone before you. Think in terms of leveraging industry best practices, and your partners will help you, guide you to what are best practices. Building a castle in the sky won't cut it today. It's got to be integrated, it's got to be data-driven, and it's got to be opinionated, built on best practices. Let's also talk about a closed feedback loop system. Capturing all that data is one thing, okay? But you must ruthlessly monitor. You must really understand what's happening inside, and you've got to create a closed feedback system to do that. In addition, you're also going to want to use more data to help you going forward to drive results. Okay, let's continue on. Let's talk about the mission at hand today. One of the things that we've known over the years is we want to create lasting and superior partner experiences out there. And that they're built on best practices, industry standards, but they're also built on automation. Let's continue on and I'll explain. If you're starting a channel, what is your nexus? What is your true north? What are partners' expectations going to be? Well, they're going to be basing their expectations of your partner program on consumer-like experiences, be it in sales and marketing, collateral, events, promotion. They want all of that automated, simple, and without friction. Let's continue on. If you're also starting a channel, they expect same-day turnaround on key milestones such as enrollment, pricing, rewards. The days of waiting 2 days, a week, 3 for pricing, discounts from the quote desk, etc., those days are gone. Things must happen in 2021 cadence. The agility, flexibility that we learned from the pandemic has taught us one thing: the pace of business has accelerated. So let's continue on. When we're thinking of those things that need to be automated, let's talk about world-class experiences. When partners log on to their automation system, and we'll talk about that in a second, and Rob will get to some of that, they want one screen where they can get the stuff that matters most to them. That's information on lead generation, where they stand in your program, incentives, how they qualify, what they must do, and MDF. World-class systems are going to take it even to a new level. Rob will get to that in a second, but let's continue on. Scaling a channel. We work quite closely with one of the top industry analysts. Jay McBain is the senior analyst over at Check Analyst at Forrester Research. He's got a great quote. You've seen it before if you chances are, but if you haven't, ecosystems today don't run on spreadsheets, nor do they run in isolation. If you've got a channel and you're trying to scale it, your partner relationship management solution, your partner management solution should be integrated, coordinated with your marketing automation platform. It should also coordinate with your Salesforce and CRM or Microsoft Dynamics platforms. Things today have to work seamlessly, automatic, and without friction. Let's continue on. So let's get to scaling a channel today. Some more dynamics about what's happening in your world. I want to share with you some thoughts about what's happening in the SMB space. So 81% of SMBs are more reliant on technology than ever. These are numbers from a recent Xerox study, a 2021 Xerox study of the SMB marketplace. Think about that. Why are SMBs, and let's continue to the next slide while I'm talking, but why are SMBs investing so deeply into technology and automation? It's simple. Technology for a small business is the great leveler. It is the great equalizer that allows them to operate with the same agility, flexibility, and quality that major enterprises can do. 4 in 5 SMBs consider automating tasks today as critical to their survival, but there's more. In addition to automating tasks in their survival, let's continue on. We also see SMBs spending at record rates. What do I mean by that? SMB spending on technology, on automation, is today at the same level that it was at the great internet build-out of enterprises 15, 20 years ago. In fact, today, SMBs are spending more as a percent of revenue on automation technology than their enterprise counterparts. And again, they do so because they see it as great equalizers. Not surprisingly, 3/4 have observed an increased reliance on workflow solutions, and that includes channel automation. So let's continue on. What else? Well, 2/3 have upgraded their automation tools of late. 2/3. If you think you can get by without automating today, you're going to be lagging behind your competition. Let's continue. What else? 75% of SMBs have increased their tech budgets by an average of 34% in the last year alone. So again, a lot of statistics, a lot of anecdotes showing digital transformation is real and it's happening in your space, in your marketplace. All right, coming to Rob here in a second, let's now go on. Let's finally talk about that automation as it applies to the partner space, the partner community. And this is the value of an integrated PRM platform. I want to read you a quote from McKinsey Digital of May 2021. The COVID-19 pandemic has fundamentally changed the pace of business, and companies with superior technology capabilities are winning the race. Let's talk a little bit about some of the benefits. We click ahead to having an integrated PRM platform today. Well, when you think about our customers, here's what they tell us. Impartner's integrated and modular stack helps partners grow their revenue on average 32.3%. Pretty damned impressive. Growing sales. Well, can it save costs? Let's click ahead. Impartner PRM has helped customers reduce their administrative costs by an average of 29%. So grow revenue, reduce costs. What does that lead to in the marketplace? If we click ahead, it leads to a competitive advantage. 78% of those who have invested in Impartner PRM now say they have a competitive advantage in their respective markets. That's huge. Okay, so you've heard me talk about starting, scaling, thrown out numbers about the advantages of automation. Let's continue ahead. Let's talk about some other things coming up. Let's talk about what Rob teased out at the beginning, 30 years of experience packed in to new technology. Let's bring back Rob. It's Rob Franks. Again, he's the Director of Sales Engineering. Well, Rob, I throw in a lot of statistics, set it up, but let's get to the verb. Let's hear about those exciting things. Take it away.
Absolutely. Thanks, TC. Appreciate your comments there. I'm excited to show you what we're phrasing PX, partner experience. And this partner experience allows organizations that are just starting out with indirect channel partners to be up and running extremely quickly. And I think that's a critical piece of scaling. We often think about scaling as we grow really fast and can we keep up? But part of scale is starting fast as well. I've often heard prospects that I've spoken with that say, Rob, I understand the value of PRM. I understand the value of automation, but there seems to be a lot of configuration that has to occur in order for that automation to actually exist. And I don't have the to handle that configuration work. I either need a big budget for professional services or I need additional staff to handle those configurations myself. And I'm just not at that point. I'm a one-man band. I have me and maybe one other person. So how can I take advantage of a PRM without that heavy config that often has to take place at the enterprise level that I just can't afford to do at the SMB or the starting point perspective of partner management. Impartner has translated out about 30 years of experience into what we're calling experiences. So think of me as a one-man band, and I want to start a partner program and manage it from an automated perspective with Impartner. What I'd do is I'd log in to the application that you see on your screen, and I would just simply click this tab. And I can start a new partner experience. And this partner experience is simply going to walk me through certain steps that I need to do in order for me to create a live partner program. And once I've walked through those steps, I'll just go right here. It launches what we call PX Studio. And this PX Studio is an opinionated, step-by-step application that by the end, you've created a partner program simply by following a few simple steps. So first and foremost is the configuration of a dashboard. We've had well over 10 million partner experiences as they've logged into our application over the 30 years we've been in business. We've surveyed those partners and we've asked, what do you need? What do you like? What's noise? What are you there for? And 9 partners out of 10 will tell us, Rob, when I log in, I need to see where I am in the program, what I need to do next in the program, and where are my deals? What are the statuses of my deals? If you can answer those 3 questions for me on one sheet of paper, or in this case, one screen, I'm extremely happy. And that's exactly what this dashboard is intended to do, is for you to create a single pane of glass that your partners can easily identify the most important information, most relevant information, and then launch from there. So this concept of a dashboard is super simple to use, but very, very powerful. And you can configure this dashboard as you need. You can move widgets around. You can configure who gets to see the widget. You know, if I click on this button, you can say, I only want my partners in EMEA to see this widget. I only want to see partners that are certified to see this particular widget. So you can make some choices there and create a really nice experience for the different partners that you have within your program. And then you just simply move down the tree, right? Let's talk about partner registration. Well, what are those questions that we want a new prospective partner to answer? Can we come up with those? Can I drag and drop a few fields? Absolutely. No code, simple drag and drop interface. Another example, what do I want my partners to agree to? What are my terms and conditions? What is the agreement that is going to manage the relationship between me and my partners? Impartner offers a digital signature against an agreement or agreements that your partners need to sign before they fully are active within your program. This is copy, this is paste. You can have your legal team come up with the verbiage, you simply paste it in, and away you go. And then finally, I'll just kind of just step down here and say, same thing. What do I want my partners to tell me about deals? What do I want that dashboard to look like? What's information that's relevant to my partner? Simple drag and drop, very easy to use. Here's all the fields. You can just simply click, unclick, and away you go. Okay? So how does this look for a partner? Once you've got this ready to go, once you've walked through the creation wizard, what does it look like for the partners? Well, let's take a peek. So I'm going to come back to this screen. I'm going to click on users. Let's pick a user here, David, and let's log him in into one of those experiences that we've built. So you can see first and foremost, the experience that David is having here is an application experience. It's not a website. This is modernized. It's application based, and it's branded specifically to the vendor, in this case Brighton, and the partner David. So there's a level of personalization within this application that promotes brand and provides a good personal experience. You can see here that David's view of the application is very similar to the administrator's view. Navigation on the left, a dashboard is presented to the partner, and you can see here that David can see, where are my deals, what leads has Brighton provided me, and what's closed. 3 clicks, I can easily see where my pipeline is, and I can always hyperlink into any record to see the detail. As I scroll down, remember one of those questions that partners often want answered? Where am I at? And the second question, what do I need to do next? And that's what this journey widget is intended to do. In this case, Brighton, the brand, has identified a couple of steps that they want David to take. And we want you to interact with some content that we've rolled out. There's a couple of assets in the asset library that we want you to take a look at. And they've shown here where David sits within this journey and what he needs to do next. Okay. And then there's some other widgets that are presented to David based off of the partner type that he is. So you may not roll out marketing development funds initially within your program, or you may not roll out marketing development funds to all of your partners. But in this case, David has access to marketing development funds, and he can see exactly where his requests sit and what has to happen in order for them to go to the next step. Partners love to see also what's available to them. Maybe there's some self-service options that you want your partners to take. Maybe there's some training that you'd like them to take. Here's a calendar that showcases, hey, there's a training right here. Let me go ahead and click on it, take a look at it. And do I want to register into it? Maybe I'm already registered and I'm ready to join the training. Okay. So from one single pane of glass, the partner can manage their relationship with your organization. Now, of course, they can dive into other aspects of the application. If they want to consume content, here's our asset library. If they want to get into the training and certification and become an accredited partner with you, that training and certification is easily consumed by that partner. So on and so forth. Okay, so here's my dashboard. I can see all the detail that I want. I can always click in to any record and quickly see its status and provide status updates back to the brand. So within, I would say, an hour's worth of time within the Impartner PX Studio, you can have a partner experience and a partner program defined and launched as you need. The cool thing I think that Impartner's done in building out this studio experience within its application is that you won't outgrow the functionality that's provided by the PX Studio. You know, a lot of times when clients will come to me and they'll say, Rob, I love Impartner, it's great. I think it's probably too much for me now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna buy at the bottom of the market. I know I'm gonna outgrow it, and I'll come and talk to you in 6 months to a year when I'm ready for it. Well, now Impartner can offer that starting point much quicker and much easier than it ever has before. And if you ever do outgrow that PX Studio experience, you can then turn on the full features of our platform with a couple of calls, a couple of emails to our customer success team, and have that additional functionality added to your tech stack. So I'm confident to say that you'll never outgrow us, but we also will provide a better starting point for you than we ever have before. One thing personally that I've sort of gravitated to is I'm no longer talking about partner relationship management. I'm talking about partner automation, and this partner automation is simpler than it ever has been before with the Impartner PX Studio. I can get up and running much faster. which means that I can scale quicker as I attract partners, as I learn about my relationship with my partners. I can turn on, I can turn off with flips of switch, and I can leverage all of the best practices that Impartner has incorporated into the software without me having to come up with those ideas. I can inherit those best practices and those ideas from the 30 years of experience that Impartner's had, and now has bubbled in and incorporated into their software in the PX Studio. So with that, TC, I'll send it back to you. Hopefully our audience can kind of get a sense of how quick they can start, how much functionality there is, how easy it is to turn on and to truly take advantage of automation without a tremendous effort of configuration to get that automation to actually work.
Very cool. Well, congrats on the success and the milestone that you've achieved and your engineering team as well. I do have some questions. I was taking notes. Number one, my company is different. You hear it all the time. My company's different. We can't adopt best practices. We can't adopt and take advantage of opinionated software. So is that true, or is that a myth that, if you think you're different, how do I embrace opinionated best practice-based software?
Yeah, those differences oftentimes provide a competitive advantage in a company's market. So for sure, where those companies feel like they have a competitive advantage and they want to do something different that the studio won't allow, that's where Impartner can really open up its entire tech stack and give them tremendous flexibility to create those differentiators within our platform so that they can be managed, they can be upgraded, and they can be developed within a platform in such a way that they don't have to start from scratch. They can still take advantage of the platform and build as they need. When somebody says that, I do, however, always challenge them. Like, what makes you so special? Why do you think that's the case? And that prompts always a good conversation. So for those programs that are long-standing and that have had success with those differences, great, we can support that. But for companies that are starting out, that are clawing their way in to an industry, I think this PX Studio is a great way for an organization to get up and running quickly, knowing full well that if they need to tweak it later, they can, but they don't have to start out with that heavy development at the beginning of their journey.
All right, very good. By the way, when people ask me what makes you so special, I remind them the truth. I surround myself with people and pay them handsomely to say that. So
exactly,
that's just me, perhaps. No code. You said that. I wrote it down. No code, but drag and drop. Really? I mean, I hear that, but doesn't that mean I've got to go to my IT department? And remember, we're an SMB, we're a fast-growing, emerging startup. We're growing leaps and bounds. I can't go to my IT department and say, hey guys, I need you for 6 months to do some custom coding. So when you say no code, drag and drop, what's real here?
Yeah, it's true, and I want to prove it out. You've got a link on the screen now where people can request a deeper dive into our application, and I'm even here sort of unofficially saying, if you're listening to this webinar, I'd love to set you up on a 30-day trial. Let's put the proof into your hands, and let's see how easy it is with no risk to you to see how fast you can get up and running. It truly is click, not code. And we've even removed a tremendous amount of the configuration that's typically required to get automation to work. We've pre-configured, we've opinionated the software based off of those best practices so that you can walk through those steps, and if those steps make sense, you absolutely can be up and running within a couple of hours max.
And those opinions are based on literally hundreds upon hundreds of real-world customer installations that have proven themselves successful in the marketplace. Yes?
That's exactly right. I mean, if you look at the Impartner client base, you've got companies in every geography of the world. You've got companies in every vertical out there. You've got companies that have 100,000 partner logins per day, and you have partners or companies that have 10 logins per day. And we've, as a technical term, smushed all that together, extrapolated out the best practices over that 30 period of time, and we've created that opinionated workflow that allows you to get up and running very, very quickly.
And by the way, just me personally, I prefer smushed software to opinionated software. Right. But again, that might just be me. I could ask you about 50 more. Time for one more. This is the double boogie bonus round, lightning quick, relevant to my partners. Let's help those that are starting and scaling that channel. Far too many want to throw up marketing information, things that aren't essential to partner. Part of those opinions have taught us best practices, put relevant information first and foremost. This technology allows you to do so. 10 more seconds on that.
Yeah, content is great, but think about the work to create content. Web developers, authors, editors, product has to sort of provide input. Content takes work, and what we're realizing is that while that content is great, what's most important to partners is, where do my deals sit? How can I quickly register a lead to you? Where do I sit in your program? And what should I do next to level up? If you can answer those quick questions and then take advantage of an asset library like Impartner offers for content, then you've really created something that's going to be usable and creates value for your partner. And that's kind of where I'm focused. I want it, of course, to drive value, as you talked about, TC, increasing revenue, reducing administrative costs, but I'm focused on what is it going to do for your partner, because I know that if the partner's happy, all of those metrics just kind of fall into place. And with our PX Studio, you can create that dashboard that's quickly consumable by your partner, allow them to quickly register deals within your program and get data back from you through our powerful integration strategies.
Good stuff. Well, you've been listening to the ultimate guide to starting and scaling a channel, brought to you by Impartner. I'm your host, TC Doyle. I want to thank our guest, Rob Franks, Director of Sales Engineering here at Impartner. Rob, as always.
Thanks, TC. Great to be with you.
Great to see you. Do yourself a favor. Take that customized demo. There's the link there. We can send that out to you as well. Even if you're not sure that you're in the market for technology automation, take the demo. You can benchmark yourself against others. You can see what world-class automation can do for your business, and you'll get a better sense of where you stand in the marketplace. Thanks for tuning in.